Let's take a look at NECA's version of Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street by NECA. They are, I think, the pinnacle of horror action figures. Trick or Treat Studios, Mezco, a lot of them out there, but I think NECA does the best job, in my own opinion. I think they're all the right size, the right scale. Paint and all the applications are just outstanding. You get a lot of accessories. And let's take a look at the package. First things first, you get the awesome poster art right there. Movie poster art. A Nightmare on Elm Street. On this side, says A Nightmare on Elm Street. Ultimate Freddy up here, NECA, and Real Toys down there. This side is the same thing. Top, A Nightmare on Elm Street. You get a picture. I believe that's I think that's a movie clip right there of Freddy Krueger. Ages 17 and up. We got a choking hazard warning there. Bottom, check that out. You get your makers of this action figure. So that's nice that they put that on there. I always like to mention that they have the sculptor, the fabricator, painter, photographer, and package designer all on there. I think that is really, really good that they do that. Not every toy company does that, but NECA makes sure they does that. And I think that keeps your workers loyal and your workers around when you get good shout outs like that. All right, and on the back, we get a picture of our action figure there and some of our accessories. And we get a little wording here, and I will read it. It says, Nancy is having grisly nightmares. Something monstrous wants to kill her. Meanwhile, her high school friends who are having the very same dream are being slaughtered in their sleep by the hideous fiend of their shared nightmare. When the police ignore their explanation, she must confront the killer in his shadowy realm. And a very, very good movie, written and directed by Wes Craven, released in 1984. I had just turned 12 years old that year. My mom took me and my friend Todd, who I went to school with, and dropped us off in Oxford at the Princess Theater, which is no longer there. But yeah, she dropped us off. We took our money, went up to the box office, and they said, you boys aren't old enough to see this movie. So luckily, my mother had not quite got out of the parking lot, so I ran out, waved her down, and my mom had to come in and buy our tickets so that we could go see A Nightmare on Elm Street. And it was so good, so scary. It was a full house. A lot of fun, a lot of screaming. Great, great movie, but I'll always remember that for the rest of my life. So shout out to Todd Pavlisco if you're out there. I'll always remember you. Whenever I see this on, I think about Todd. But anyways, that's my personal story on A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you have a story of the first time you saw this, leave a comment. But yeah, the basis of the story is the group of kids. Their parents had killed Freddy Krueger 20, 25, 30 years prior to the happenings in this movie. And what happens is Freddy comes back in their dreams, in their kids' dreams. So he wants revenge against the parents, and what better way to get revenge on a parent than to take their children away. So that's that's the whole plot of the movie. Freddy get revenge on the people that killed him when they were young teenagers. And so that's the whole plot of it. And they want to catch Freddy. So if you fall asleep, that's the only time Freddy can get you. So they want to fall asleep, capture Freddy, kill him in the dreams, and hopefully that'll get rid of the get rid of Freddy. But anyways, it's a great movie. Gotta see it if you haven't. We're right at September. Let's see, I think we're at September 8th. So I think this is an October movie. I think this is, if you're going to watch 31 movies in October, this should be one. You can watch it in September. Great September movie, but it's a little more hardcore. I think you need to ease into to the October months with movies that aren't quite this grisly and scary. You got to just ease in my own opinion. So let's take a look. Once we open it up and we get that Velcro unstrapped, there we go. Great picture of our action figure there. And then we get the big window box that we're used to with our NECAs. You get to see all his accessories. So looking good, looking good. And I am going to take him out of the bottom. So we'll get our knife here. And I believe, I want to say this figure here was released in 2015 maybe. Could have been a little earlier than that. There is no copyright on here, but a couple of our NECA figures have had the copyright date on the action figure itself, on the foot, on one of the feet. So I'm hoping we're going to see that on there. If not, we'll just have to try to look it up and find it online, and I'll put it on the screen. All right, here he comes. Uh-oh. There we go. And of course, nothing in there because our tray comes out with it. And let's get Freddy's plastic coffin out of that tray, and there you go. Looks like it's got a boiler system in it. A lot of the killings happen in a boiler room because that's where he was killed at by the teenager's parents years before. So nice. All right, and here he is in his plastic coffin. And we're going to go through his accessories first. So I got my scissors here. Well, we need scissors. I believe we will. All the way back in this day, when this was made, I'm sure they reproduce these quite often. They may even change the paint applications or something. So I really hope that we got a copyright date on this. All right, and our first accessories are going to have this cap over it, which I do like. I've talked about that on the channel. I like those. And the first thing we have is the telephone. And if you see in the movie, there's a scene with this phone. That is awesome. And it's even got the long cord with it wrapped up around the phone. But yeah, check it out. Great scene. So we'll sit that right there. Next thing we have is Freddy's hand. And again, if you see in the movie, he takes one of his razor fingernails that he has on his glove and cuts his finger off, and that green pus or goo comes squirting out of his fingers. So very nice. If you want to recreate that scene, you can. Next we get the mask. And I believe this was Tina's face, if I'm not mistaken. So Tina was one of the first ones killed, and then he takes her face and puts it on his own. And then we get his face without his skin. Gotta have that. Also in the movie. And then we get another alternate head. And this one is a smiling Freddy Krueger. It's very good. We'll talk about these heads in a little bit. And then you gotta have the hat. Freddy's hat. Of course, you have to have that. Alright, and that's our accessories. So next thing we have to do is cut out our Freddy. He is tied in around the waist. I think just that one tie-in. I lift up and out at the same time. And Freddy is resurrected, and there's his plastic coffin. We'll set that to the side. And here he is. Let's walk through articulation real quick. Head looks down and not up. Not up at all. So a little bit down. It will go side to side slightly. It will go all the way around. Oh, Lord. Of course it is removable, even though it's very, very hard to remove it. Hopefully I can get it back on there. All right, a little twisting and turning and a little pressure, and it went back on. All right, so that's the head movement. Shoulder all the way around. We have a single butterfly in there. We have a single jointed elbow, not quite a 45 degrees there, as you can see. This will rotate. This arm, upper arm will rotate at the elbow. We have wrists that go up and down. But yeah, hands are removable. The hands will go all the way around, but not a lot of movement there. On this other hand, same thing. It's going to have slight movement on there. Not much. And this one, I don't know if this one is removable. I mean, I don't think you need to remove it because there's not another hand with the razor knives. Do we have a hula hoop waist? Yes, hula hoop waist in there. Now this is not a soft goods shirt. It is plastic, like all our NECA is, and the features on it are just amazing. I mean, it looks just like a fabric, a sweater fabric. So very, very good. You can see the wrinkles in that. So not a lot of waist movement because of that. He does slight splits. He does pretty good straddles. You got knee, not quite a 45 on the knee. It will rotate, rotates around. And then we have ankle movement, but not much. So that's it on our articulation. Now let's check out Freddy. All right, face sculpt, unbelievable. He was played by Robert Englund. And that was Freddy Krueger. That was the actor that played Freddy Krueger. He was burnt. That's why his face looks all burnt up. He was burnt in a boiler by Tina and Nancy and Glenn. And I guess even Rod's parents all got together and burnt Freddy. And that's why he's got the look he has. And you don't find that until the end of the movie. So there is some spoilers in this review if you have not seen the movie. Sweater looks just like Freddy's. The claw. Look at the claw. Now, I cannot remember if his fingers were twisted up like that. If you notice, his pinky razor is kind of over top of the ring finger razor. They must have been, because NECA does an absolutely fabulous job on recreating the movie. So I would say they did. I would say his fingers were like that. Now, what we can do is we can take that one hand off and recreate our scene in the movie where he cuts his own finger off. And then he lets it fly, lets that goo and green gunk fly out of there, just to intimidate the kids. 2014, we found out, was the copyright. That's what we have on our bottom of our foot. Now he has, this was actually held by, I can't remember if it was Nancy or Tina. I think it was Nancy, but she was on the phone talking to Freddy Krueger, and all of a sudden Freddy's tongue come out and licked her in the lips. Remove this head. We'll try to put this smiling head on there. This is the head sculpt right here that I would probably display on a shelf. Is that head sculpt, the smiling head sculpt. And then, of course, you got to put the hat on, because there's Freddy right there. That is awesome. With that hat on. Freddy Krueger. Outstanding. Now we'll pull this head off. We'll put the bloody head on. And also a scene in the movie when Freddy kills Tina, and you just have to see it. She's on the walls, blood smearing everywhere. Her boyfriend Rod's standing there. She's screaming, "Help me, it hurts." Going on the ceiling, leaving blood everywhere. I mean, this was just a brutal, brutal murder. He can't see Freddy, so he just sees his girlfriend's body flopping around and blood everywhere. So then Rod, the boyfriend of Tina, gets accused of killing Tina, of course, because nobody's going to believe the story about some guy coming around and killing all the teenage kids until the parents figure it out. So, yeah, must see, especially for Halloween. And there's Freddy there. So, yeah, okay, figure. I really love the sculpt. Love the sculpt. It's just some of the joints. The hips are very loose. The head don't seem to want to go on there. But all in all, a good figure. A must-have if you're a fan of A Nightmare on Elm Street or horror movies in general, especially 80s horror. So get out there, see the movie, pick up this Freddy Krueger Ultimate NECA action figure. I'm telling you, it's next level. Paint apps, the sculpting, beautiful. Beautiful work. So that's going to be it. And until next time, for Freddy Krueger, oh yeah, Nancy.